Welcome to the Sci-Fi Horror and Fantasy Show podcast. And now, here's your host, Ron Donahue.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Sci-Fi Horror and Fantasy Show podcast. I'm your host, Ronald Donahue, and tonight I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Mario Lazo.
Hey, how y'all doing out there?
And Mr. Jeff McIntosh.
Good evening. For the spookily inclined, it's 195 days till Halloween.
Oh yeah, I know you already got your countdown calendar ready to go, huh, Jeff?
I'm every day, man, every day.
Well, it's good to be back. I was out for a couple of weeks. I had some surgery April the 4th, so it's good to be back. And the funny thing, during that time that I was out, I was watching like tons of YouTube. You'd think I'd be watching like a ton of different movies, but one movie I can't say I did watch. Well, let me rephrase. I did watch the last Captain America: Brave New World. I thought that was I thought it was a pretty good movie. I mean, I heard when it came out, not too many people cared very much for it. I'll say this, my opinion. It was good as a movie, but I also see that they could have maybe chopped it up and made it into maybe a 4-part series on Disney, the Disney Channel or whatever. I thought it was good. I think Anthony Mackie did a great job. Harrison Ford played Harrison Ford as he always does. And I thought it was pretty, like I said, again, I thought it was pretty good. Did either one of you see it yet?
I have not.
You, Mario?
No, after what you said last month, I'm going,
It's worth seeing. No, it's worth seeing. If I had, Mario, I'm very, very hard on movies.
Yeah,
honestly, I'll give it a B+.
Oh,
it was
okay.
that good. Yeah, it was worth it. It was a B+. The end credit scene was kind of a waste of time. Really didn't give any. It gave kind of a hint, a very vague hint of what's to come for Marvel down the road. But I mean, it wasn't like anything, groundbreaking or anything like that. But yeah, it was pretty good. You know what I also started to watch? I swear I tried so hard to watch that new Nosferatu movie. It was so boring. I was like 10 minutes in. I'm like, okay, I'm out.
What?
Nosferatu, the new one.
Oh, but it still had, what's his name, right?
Who?
Oh, God.
William Dafoe. William Dafoe?
Yeah, William Dafoe.
Yeah, let me see who's in it. It had Bill Skarsgård. Yeah, it did have William Dafoe. Yeah, it did have him in there. Yeah.
I started it and I got about 10 minutes in and it was just slow.
Yes. Oh my God.
And I said, okay, this is going to be for a night that I have insomnia.
Right? Oh my gosh. It was so boring. I mean, 10 minutes in, again, that's really, if in 10 minutes you can't spark my interest, I know I'm pretty much done with that movie. And I might try to go back again one day, try to, kind of take it in doses, take another 10 minutes and then another 10 minutes. But my gosh, that movie was so very boring. You saw it, Mario?
No, I didn't. I was going to when I was at the theater. And I said, you know what? Didn't they come up with one not a couple years back?
Yeah, they did have a different one.
There was one with Klaus Kinski back like in the late 70s or early 80s. Somewhere on that time frame. But yeah.
Yeah, it was a snooze fest. I mean, if it's still at the theater, Mario, if you're going to go watch it, make sure you drink a bottle of No-Dose before you go. Wow. Yeah,
watch the original from the 20s. It's
that's
all
very
over
creepy.
the internet. I think it's even on YouTube.
Now, here's a little side piece of trivia for you all. So we know Bram Stoker is the original one who created the Dracula story, right?
Right.
You know that Nosferatu was basically a German copycat of the Dracula film. They just basically changed the names around, and instead of it's Dracula, it was Count Orlov or whatever. But basically, the Germans just copied off of his Dracula story and made their own vampire movie. So that's where it comes from.
And a little piece of trivia on top of that: Stoker's widow sued the film company and had all copies of the film seized and destroyed. But they missed a couple copies, and that's why we have Nosferatu today, because Stoker's widow sued on a copyright violation.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm, that's right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so then, let me see. I think that's pretty much as far as the movies I saw while I was laid up or whatever. I saw, tried to watch that. Captain America. Yeah, I think that was really about it. I did. Oh no, okay. I did start watching The Monkey, but I fell asleep on it, so I can't give a full review on that yet. The one thing I can say about it, it reminds me kind of like those movies. Was it Final Destination?
Yeah.
Whereas in like there's a scene. Okay, so there's 5 people in a store, and some guy on the upstairs floor drops some lighter fluid, a gallon of lighter fluid, and it starts dripping down. And then all of a sudden, what's going on? And somebody's sneaking a cigarette in the store. It shouldn't be smoked. So you already know what's going to happen. The people are going to burn up. That's basically kind of how this movie is. It sets the scene up, and then, like, okay, for example, I'm not giving too much away. Guy goes into a pawn shop. When he goes into the pawn shop, it starts taking you around to all these different things inside the pawn shop. So then you see like a deep sea diver outfit holding a harpoon, right? Like a kind of like a spring driven harpoon gun. And then, other things around there. So then the guy goes, talks to the guy behind the counter. He's trying to give the monkey to the guy, whatever. So he's like, well, but bad things happen when he starts playing. So you already know what's going to happen because they already pretty much gave you all the clues you need, just when they first showed you around inside the pawn shop. Yeah, that's kind of how it is. It kind of is like, there was another scene where you didn't know exactly what was going to happen, but it's more of a comedy than really a horror film. It's like a dark comedy, kind of like any one of those. What's the guy name? Ash. He plays the character Ash.
Bruce
Come on,
Campbell.
Jeff, you know him. Campbell. Bruce Campbell. Yeah,
okay.
kind of like those. Yeah, Bruce Campbell. Like any one of those movies that he plays in with the chainsaw hand and fighting the zombies and going back, and it's not the same premise, but it's kind of set up like the same way, at least in my opinion. Anyway, I'll be able to give a better review once. I'll try to watch it again because I'm not on as many medications now as I was when I first started.
Maybe you need to be on those medications.
Yeah. Now let me tell you guys, if you're hurting,
I started watching an old Italian horror film I've been trying to get to for years. Barry Sullivan from the early '60s, or Planet of the Vampires.
Oh, that's an awesome movie. Oh my gosh, I love that movie. That's an awesome film.
That's like for people who are into S&M because they have those leather outfits with the piping, and then
yes, that is an awesome film. Only thing I kind of well we can talk, man. If you haven't, this movie came out in the early '60s, right? Mid '60s. Yeah. I'm sorry, guys, if there's spoilers. If you turn off the podcast for like 5 minutes or whatever. We're going to talk about it for a second. But if you haven't seen it yet, I doubt anybody's going to really check it out anyway. But the thing that got me was it was so simple how how she ended up dying at the end, the vampire lady. You know what I mean? But it was a great story. It
reminded me of Alien. Really.
Absolutely. And I just saw this documentary recently that was fascinating. Oh my gosh. for all of our listeners, I'll try to pull it up. The name of this, I just watched it recently. I can't remember the name of it. It was a documentary about the making of the Alien film, the original Alien film. And sure enough, they did say that one of the writers from the film was influenced by that Planet of Vampire movie. Certain ways that they set up scenes and backgrounds and what have you. Yeah, it's oh my gosh, it was such a great film. Really, really good film. Yeah, I'll find it and I'll give the name before we end the show today. But let's move on, gents. So you see that the Fantastic Four have looks like an extended trailer that they put out that really gives a lot of information about the film. For one, which we kind of already figured out. We already knew, and I had already said it to begin with when we talked about this before. I knew this was not the 616 universe. It wasn't. There was no way that was going to be it, right? We know it takes place in their universe around the 1960s, probably around the same time as the space race took place in our universe. We know that they are already established in that universe. You know, they're kind of like the Beatles, the rock stars of that universe. It appears that they're the only superheroes in that universe that they're in. We know that Sue Storm is pregnant. Someone had made a comment. Some people who were observing the original trailer that came out kept saying they weren't showing Sue Storm's stomach or anything like that. But it's known now that she's pregnant. We know that from that formula that Reed Richards was doing on those chalkboards, that was something trying to determine the multiverse, which we've gone through, I know, many times before with many of these other Marvel films. And we also know that another point that shows this took place in the 1960s were some of the cereals that they had in the kitchen. Like Johnny Storm, when he was sitting at the kitchen table, he was eating Lucky Charms, which came out like in the 1960s. Then there was another box of cereal that we saw on the side, which was Kix, the Kix cereals, which also came out around the same time. Now, first and foremost, let me ask you before we go any deeper, what did you guys think of this new trailer? We actually saw Galactus walking through the streets of their New York City. What do you think about this the extended trailer, Mario?
I saw the Silver Surfer too.
Yes, we did. Shia LaBeouf. They think this is not the Silver Surfer that's been seen in the other. He's not the hero that we've seen in the first one in the comic books. This is a female, Shia LaBeouf, who I guess preceded him or what have you. But she's still in the Marvel universe. So right, we did see the Silver Surfer. What did you think overall, Mario? I mean, now that they're giving us more information about the film, what are you thinking?
Well, I saw the preview, and almost right off the bat, did she say she was pregnant?
Yeah, she is. It's confirmed. She is pregnant.
Yeah. So they said that, and then you're going, oh damn, that was quick. There was no preface to that. So it kind of hit you with this like a sledgehammer. Okay. We're not going to go into the details of how they all got together and stuff like that. Right. So, unlike the other ones, I don't recall if the others, I don't know how many Fantastic Four there's been now because I've lost track. But I don't recall if they did or did not mention, how they got to be the way they were. So, this one starts off, already, hey, she's pregnant. And so throughout the movie, I guess she'll be worried about, she's pregnant. She better not do that. Or, she better not do that, So that was my only issue about the preview, and it was great, to see the villains in it, So, I enjoyed it. But, to me, it seemed like, okay, I'm okay. She's pregnant. So, don't do that. Don't get yourself in harm's way. That's my only concern about the movie. The preview is good. I got to give it to him. The preview was good.
It looks it looks very interesting. What's your takeaway, Jeff? I mean, what did you think about the extended trailer now?
I like seeing the Silver Surfer.
Okay.
That was nice. A couple of elements I'm kind of sitting on the fence about.
Which is
the first one is Herbie.
okay.
I don't see any reason for Herbie the robot.
Mhm.
He was kind of almost like a comedy relief in the comic books.
Okay.
So I'm not sure how well Herbie is going to fit in. The other thing is what I assume to be Galactus.
Okay.
There's one scene and it shows them stomping through the city, and
Right.
all I could think of was like Godzilla.
Okay.
You know, if you've got an alien that will destroy your world and take that energy and take it into himself to continue his lifespan, why does he even need to step on Earth at all? Because he's got a big, humongous machine that he pulls out of somewhere, and it sucks all the energy and everything out of the world, and it destroys the world and makes it dead. So why does he need to come down and stomp on the Baxter Building? Nah, it just doesn't kind of make much sense to me.
Yeah, I don't see from my understanding that Galactus can kind of change forms. Like I saw, like even in that the preview I sent you, or when they were talking about him devouring the like planets, I guess he can turn almost into like a cloud. It's almost like a cloud-like form or what have you, which I guess surrounds the planet, and that's what devours the planet. But I know who Galactus is, but I am not. I'll put it out there. I've never been a huge Fantastic Four fan, so I don't know a lot about him. Only by what I've heard other people talking about, that he can shrink down. He can shrink his size down. Now, again, like you're saying, why was he walking down Main Street in New York in this movie? I don't know. I'm assuming that it has some reason why they did it. Some reasoning behind it. But then this is the next part. We know that. Well, okay. For those who don't know, the son of Reed Richards and Sue Richards' name is Franklin Richards. Franklin Richards in comics is beyond Omega level, like an Omega level mutant. He's like light years beyond that. He's kind of like, I guess if you want to compare him with like DC characters, he's kind of like Dr. Manhattan, meaning this guy can basically he can just think of universes. He's kind of like with just his thought process. Like Thanos snapped his fingers and made half the universe disappear. Well, Franklin Richards could just think about that and it could happen. That's just how powerful he is. So my next question is, okay, we know, okay, he's going to be he'll be a baby. He's going to be born as a baby. Now in the comic books, he did go from a child up into adult. He turned himself into an adult. Okay. But this is like just a 1,000 Omega level mutants. This guy is so powerful. Do you all think that because obvious enough, this is not going to be the last we see of the Fantastic Four film? Because they're asking, the people are you going to save? He says, Reed Richards, we're going to save you or whatever. We don't think that's going to work. That's why I think the whole thing played out about the multi-universe. That's how I think they're going to end up in the 616 or somewhere else. They're going to have to leave because they're not going to be able to, chances are, beat him. But the question is, knowing that their son, Franklin, is that powerful, I mean, this guy is nothing there's nothing he really can't do. He's like, I hate to say it makes me feel sick to say, but it's kind of like a godlike character that can basically, whatever he can think it, he can do it. Do you think that down the road, they would ever make him that powerful in any future Marvel movies? Because really, I mean, what would be the point of making him so powerful if all he can do is think about something and he can straighten it out? You know what I mean? And then my next question for you, knowing that Doctor Doom first appeared in the Fantastic Four comic books in the 1960s, do you think that somewhere in this movie, be it an end credit scene or something, he's going to finally show himself? What do you say, Jeff?
Well, talking about Franklin for just a sec, obviously he's going to be in utero during this movie. So who's to say that he can't influence or generate some kind of power or super thought or mutant abilities while he is currently in the womb?
Right.
So he may not have to come out and be a baby and then think, hey, I wish I was 18 years old, and have it happen. Maybe he could influence events inside Sue Richards. So
Okay.
I'd be curious about that.
Okay.
I would like to see him do some kind of after credit scene with Doctor Doom. I'd rather not see him as I can't think of the actor's name.
Robert Downey Jr.?
Yeah, thank you. I don't want to see him as Robert Downey Jr. I want to see him fully masked with the armor on and the green cape and the gauntlets and all that stuff, and have him say something, like he's the ruler of I want to say Wakanda, and I know that I'm not right on that.
No, it's not Wakanda, but he does have his own.
He's got his own little fiefdom, his own little kingdom, and maybe he could say, today, whatever, tomorrow I start my assault on the United States, or I'm going to destabilize the United States and take over. And, he and Reed Richards have history prior to him becoming Dr. Doom. Richards tried to warn him off of experiments he was conducting, and Doom said, yeah, that ain't going to happen. And he continued anyway, and the experiments went south, and he was disfigured, and he blamed Reed Richards.
Oh, is that right?
That's right. Well, I mean, anything I say, double check, but I'm pretty sure I'm correct on that, because it was kind of like, it was the same thing with Lex Luthor and Superman.
Right. Yeah, that's how he lost his hair. Some experiment.
Yeah. He was playing with chemicals, and Superboy blew him out, and he became bald. And he said, "Okay, you know what? It's no hair club for me. I'm going to hate that Superboy."
Oh, okay. I got you. Okay. What did you think, Mario? What do you think? Do you think that, for one, Franklin, somewhere down the road, I mean, in the the infinite number of Marvel movies that are going to be doled out, do you think he's going to show himself to be as powerful as he is in the comic books in the future? And do you think that we're going to get our first glimpse of Doctor Doom in maybe an end credit scene in the upcoming Fantastic Four movie?
Okay. Well, with his overwhelming powers and ability, it'd be like Thanos with the glove already.
Right.
So, how are they going to mold that into, future movies, that's too far down the road for me to even imagine. With the history of the Fantastic Four, I want to see how this turns out before, I consider, hypersonic travel to see if, they're going to come out with a movie with his abilities. I that's one of those movies that I tread lightly on. Yeah, of course I'm going to go see it at the theaters. But beyond that, I don't know what to tell you. It's to me it's too hard to forecast. Because who will he encounter, or what will he encounter?
Right.
What's the environment? What's the setting?
Exactly.
How far off into the future is it going to be? There's too many unknown variables. Will it happen? Sure, I'd like to see something different. But I can't forecast that far into it. Like I said, when's it come out? Next week?
Oh, let me see.
Fantastic
I
Four?
think it's summer, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's summertime. Yeah, I think so.
Summer?
I believe.
Okay, I could have sworn it was sooner than that.
What about Doctor Doom, Mario? Do you think we're going to get our first image of Doctor Doom? Maybe in an end credit scene or something?
I think so. If we follow the Marvel, sequences of event, yeah, it will. I think it's going to happen. But beyond that, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
How he'll come out and what capacity is he going to come out. I don't know what to tell you. But will he come out? Yeah, I think so.
I think that to me, I think that's where we're going to see him for the very first time. It might just be a quick end credit scene or something.
Well, like a Marvel always does,
Huh?
what Marvel traditionally does.
Exactly. You can always know what's going to be upcoming by just watching the end credit scenes of well, almost always, because for that, oh my gosh, what was that horrible Marvel movie about the giant robots that would destroy worlds and create worlds, and they had come on guys, you know the name of the movie I'm talking about. Because matter of fact, they finally had one that was dead out in the middle of the ocean that they showed in the last Captain America movie, so they could finally put both 2 and 2 together, that they're all in the same universe. Don't you remember this movie came out a few years ago, and it didn't do very well at the box office. It wasn't very good. You don't remember it?
All I can think of is Pacific Rim.
No, that's not a movie.
And that's not it.
Hold on, let me see. Well, incidentally, folks, the name, we'll get the name of it before the end of this. That's another one. But incidentally, I did get the name, folks, of the if you're a diehard Alien movie fan like me, there's a really awesome documentary called Memory: The Origins of Alien. It's a really real cool story. Let me give you the synopsis. It says, explores the origin of director Ridley Scott's film Alien 1979. The film includes original story notes, rejected designs, and storyboards, exclusive behind-the-scenes footage, and screenwriter Dan O'Bannon's original 29-page script of Memory, 1971. It's awesome. Like I said, if you're an Alien fan, it's really an awesome film, awesome documentary to check out. Okay, folks, so let's move on. We also see what's coming out too. I mean, I had heard about it maybe a year or two ago, but it appears that it's coming out sooner than later. They're coming out with another Toxic Avenger movie starring Peter Dinklage, and the original film came out in 1984 from Trauma Studios. I mean, they made the movies were so bad they were good. I mean, they were just so over the top, horrible special effects, but just cheesy.
Hey, remember that I was in a Trauma movie, okay?
Stop playing. Which one?
Romeo and Juliet. Seriously, I was.
If you, what role did you play, Jeff?
Well, I didn't have a credited role, but if you look like in the first 10 minutes where they are dancing in the club, which was actually shot outside against a brick wall. But I played a dancer where I was dancing with two women. I was doing the Batman.
No way.
Really? Yes. If you watch the movie, I mean, I have maybe 4 or 5 seconds of screen time. And if obviously, if you know what I look like, you're going to look and say, hey, I know that doofus. but yeah, I won a contest in Fangoria magazine years and years ago, and went to used to be Spooky World in Massachusetts, and shot the role there, and got to tour Spooky World, and I had a lot of stupid, goofy fun doing it.
Oh yeah. And what year did it come out?
Oh Lord, 80 sometime probably.
Hmm.
Let me go ahead and look real quick.
All right. While you're looking, what did you think of the trailer, Mario? I mean, it's
You forgot to mention Kevin Bacon. What is
yeah,
that? 7
yeah,
degrees of Kevin Bacon?
right, yeah. So yeah, he's got a role in there. And so, what do you think about the film? I mean, it's like I say, it's gonna be just like next level, over the top, like dark humor,
Oh,
but
yeah. No, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
it looks funny. I mean, it looks really funny, at least from the preview. What did you think, Mario?
That's my thought too. It's going to be way, way over the top, you know. So, as fans, we should get ready for that, you know.
Yeah.
When's it supposed to come out?
It says it's supposed to be released August 29, 2025.
Okay, so in the summer, towards the end, at the end of summer.
In the summer. Yeah, oh, okay. So Peter Dinklage, Elijah Wood, Kevin Bacon, Jacob Tremblay. I don't know who that is. But yeah, it looks good. I mean, that's one of those movies that, you're not going to take it seriously. I mean, that's just a movie you're going to go in there, oh my God, this is so stupid, but it's going to have you laughing at the same time. That's what I tend to believe anyway. But it looks it looks like it's going to be entertaining anyway. Did you find what you were looking for, Jeff?
1996. So my year estimates were off just a little bit.
Okay. So we got a celebrity on here with us.
Just throw cash, gift cards, gold, especially gold.
Oh yeah, gold. Yeah. Oh, the name of the movie. Okay, here it is. I can't believe you guys didn't know this one. The Eternals.
Yeah, I never saw it.
Don't waste your time. It was just horrible.
The Eternals. That rings a bell.
That was horrible.
So does Quasimodo.
One of Marvel's worst films. I mean, to me, I'll give that the number one for their worst films that they've ever put out.
How old is it?
The Eternals came out 2021.
Okay. Yeah, I saw it.
November.
I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was I would watch the Marvels again before I would watch Eternal. That was just a horrible, horrible film. But anyway, what's your take on the Toxic Avenger, the new trailer, Jeff?
Toxic Avenger is always good, stupid fun. I've seen the Troma movies years ago. There was a very short-lived animated series, I believe, as well. Might have been probably on Fox. They usually carry the kind of lowbrow taste. So the first couple Toxic Avengers are good, stupid fun. Trailer looked interesting. Kevin Bacon looked like he's a scumbag, so he's going to get his comeuppance, and the Toxic Avenger will clean up the city.
Yeah,
using his mop and toilet brush, probably.
You heard him say, "Fire him again! Fire him again!"
Yeah, there's a So the cartoon you're talking about came out in 1991. They only had one season. It was called The Toxic Crusaders, and it was loose. It says it's loosely based on the Toxic Avengers films. So yeah, I do recall. I remember seeing them. Yeah, I do recall seeing that. Some of those, not all of the episodes, but I do remember seeing it. Yeah, so I thought, like I said, again, I think just like you said, Jeff, it's just going to be stupid fun.
It's a popcorn movie.
Exactly, popcorn movie, nothing to take serious. It's going to be off the charts, really silly, goofy, but it does look like it's going to be really a really funny film. So yeah, I'm down to see it. So then let's move on once again. What do you all think of the trailer for the next installation of the year? Well, first it was 28 days later, then it was 28 months later. Now it's 28 years later. The synopsis for the film: it's been almost 3 decades since the rage virus escaped from a biological weapons laboratory. Still living in a ruthlessly enforced quarantine, some have found ways to exist amid the infected. One such group of survivors lives on a small island connected to the mainland by a single heavily defended causeway. When one of them decides to venture into the dark heart of the mainland, he soon discovers a mutation that has spread to not only the infected, but to other survivors as well. What do you think about if you all have seen the preview, if you've seen the previews, what do you think about the synopsis for the new movie coming out?
Well, it seems to mirror some of the the George Romero zombie movies, except the movies in the 28 days later, just don't stumble and shuffle around. I mean, them folks can run.
Right.
And toward the end of, and I don't remember what movie it was that Romero did, but at the end of it, they were going to sail off to an island and be safe. So it kind of reminds me of that, except that the zombies are a lot faster.
Yeah, that's what made, at least for me, that's what really made this movie so scary. Not like the slowly shuffling, you could like tap dance past regular zombies. And these things were running full speed after you. So what did you think about it, Mario? Have you seen the trailer yet? And what do you think about the synopsis of the film?
Yeah, remember, I'm the one who told you.
That's right, you did.
The first thing I said was, there were a couple military guys there. What? How are they going to reload?
Yeah.
I said, well, flah, flah, flah,
Yeah.
I can understand flamethrower or something like that, but, but yeah, it looked good. I have to admit, it impressed the heck out of me. So yeah, I'm gonna go see that one at the theater, hopefully in the Dolby theater, and but I'm looking forward to that one, because it looked well made.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it looks like it's going to be really interesting. And the actor, I don't know his name offhand, but the actor, I guess, is the star of this one, is the guy who played Craven in the Craven film. Yeah. So he's a good actor. I mean, we've already beat that horse already talking about Craven. He's a good actor though. I think he's a good actor, nevertheless. All right. So one last horror based item we'll cover tonight that currently I haven't seen it yet. I do look forward to seeing it. Michael B. Jordan's the new film Sinners. Right now, it has an IMDb rating of 8.1 out of 10 and a Rotten Tomatoes score of 98% and a Metacritic score of 84. So it's actually doing like really, really well. I mean, I'm not surprised. Ryan Coogler is an awesome director. He's, like I said, he's directed many really great films. But what do you think? Do you think that now we have a good, solid, good vampire film? Do you think we're going to start to get more vampire films, or more like your traditional monsters, your werewolves, your vampires, your ghosts? Seeing how well this is doing, do you think that this is going to turn into somewhere down the road making more of these type of monster films? Mario, what do you think?
Well, what I saw from the preview, and that's the one that's set in the 20s, isn't it?
20s, 30s, something like that, yeah.
Yeah. It'll look good. I mean, I got to give him credit. And hopefully I'll be able to see it next week. And that one, because I enjoy horror movies, but that are also maintain a period, and I like that. So I want to see how well it does, and combining both of them,
Yeah, it does take place. It actually takes place in 1932 in the Mississippi Delta.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I remember the the barn, everything. Like I'm watching the a preview, and I said, "Oh, this is looking good."
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I think you're the one who showed the preview to me. Yeah.
Yeah. It looks really good. What do you think,
Yeah. I
Jeff?
said, "Dang, that looks real good."
Yeah,
So,
it does.
if I don't, I'm gonna check to see if it's playing in the theater now. So, I'm hoping it stays on. Because sometimes good movies they yank them.
Mhm.
But I'm gonna see if I can go next weekend and see it. Um, you know, uh,
Yeah, and give us some feedback. What do you think, Jeff?
I was surfing TV last night trying to find something to watch and went to Prime and just typed in vampire. And I swear there were probably about 40 movies of varying quality.
Uh-huh.
Stuff that I've never heard of.
Okay.
So I, if you have a vampire movie, and I think that these things tend to run in cycles.
Okay.
You'll have vampires and werewolves, and then you're gonna go on to chupacabras or mothmen or whatever the next cycle is.
Mhm.
So I think if you have a good, well-written vampire story, and you have stars that are likable, and it makes money, because that's the important thing. If it makes money, I mean, if you get a movie and you spend $30 million on it and you get back 10,
Yeah,
you're probably not going to make another movie.
that's true.
So if it does well, it could usher in new vampire movies. I mean, look at what happened when we got Fright Night.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. Like I say, it looks really, really good, and like I said, from day one, I did not know it was a vampire film when because I didn't watch the trailer all the way through. I just saw, Michael B. Jordan and whatever, like Mario said, looks like in the 1920s, 1930s or something. I think, okay, it's like going to be like a gangster film or whatever. And it wasn't until I was watching another show that, was talking about different movies, saying, "Oh, vampire." I said, "Vampire." So I went back and watched it. Oh, shoot. I didn't even know. I thought it was just like a gangster film. But yeah, it does look very, very interesting.
well, I'll give you a report Monday because I already got my ticket for tomorrow at 3.
Oh, fantastic.
Dolby.
Fantastic.
So,
Okay. Yeah, we'll give Mario next week and give us a non-spoiler review on the film.
hey, after getting out of church, I'm going to see a horror movie.
All right. Well,
Well, I mean, Mario, are you Catholic?
Roman Catholic.
Well, I mean, you could make a case, about you take communion in the Roman Catholic Church, and there is a type of communion, obviously, if you're a vampire, because if you drink the blood of a victim and then you open your vein and let the victim drink from you, then they also become a vampire. So we could make a case that it's probably okay.
No, yeah, I was hoping to get it in the Dolby, and I
Uh-huh.
am going to see it in the Dolby. So tomorrow at 3:15, I'll be there, and I'll see what kind of snacks I can sneak in. I mean, take in, or buy there.
Okay. All
You
right.
have a coat with deep pockets.
Huh?
Yeah.
You have a coat with deep pockets.
Coat with deep pockets. I got a big old backpack that I take in. You know what? They don't. Let me not disclose
Yeah,
where I
Mario.
go, but
Yeah, you might. Yeah.
yeah.
Theater owners, be on the lookout
I
for
know.
Mario.
I know exactly. Yeah. All right, guys. Let's move on to the question of the week. So I was thinking about this because it was actually a comic book series that I read. Actually, it was a couple years ago, but it came to mind recently when I saw something else. The comic was Jack the Ripper versus Dracula. That was the whole story. Um, and so I read it. It was okay. It wasn't the greatest. It was like 4-part series. It wasn't the greatest series I've ever read before, but it put something to mind, and I want to ask your opinion on this. What do you think about, it could either be, say, like a TV show or a movie, when they take a situation where we know how, even to this day, how horrendous the Jack the Ripper murders were. They never figured out who Jack the Ripper was. But when they take something, a real individual, serial killer or otherwise, and they make a story out of it, right? Just like I say, like the comic with Dracula versus the Jack the Ripper. And I've seen other things the same way, where they'll take something really horrendous, murder, Jeffrey Dahmer versus Wolverine. Now, that I just made that up, but I'm just saying, where they'll take something like a real individual who was a real life monster because of the heinous things that they did, but then they make it into like a fictional story using a real person. What do you think about that, Jeff? Do you think that's in bad taste? Do you think it's, writers, creativity? What do you think?
I'm kind of on the borderline there. I've got a background in abnormal psych, and I've read quite a bit about serial killers over the years, and there's a lot of things that don't sit right with me, like when Gacy would paint his pictures of clowns and sell them.
Right.
In New York State, I think that there's something called, I want to say it's the Son of Sam law, where if, I'm a serial killer and I've killed like 50 people and I go to prison, I write a book about it and I make a lot of money. New York State, you can't do that. State won't let you. They'll.
Jeff just faded out.
Oh,
Serial killer has gotten Jeff.
Jeff, is he again trying to climb that mountain? Is he back?
So it looks like Jeff is having some technical difficulties here.
Omaha Beach.
Until he comes back, what do you feel about that, Mario? Like, when they take anybody, like say Jack the Ripper or Ted Bundy, any serial killer, and make an artificial story out of using a real murderer in that story. How do you feel about that?
I don't know how to respond to that, because how do you, in today's time frame, you can, okay, so the philosophy about a serial killer, kind of like Ted Bundy or something like that, he kills how many? 8, 10, 12 women.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So what do we hear just about every 3 or 4 years? Some gunman goes in and shoots, 11, 12 people and stuff like that.
Right.
I don't, artistic wise, I don't see a problem with it, because it's, a fantasy. Mm-hmm. But, it's just, it cuts too close to reality,
Right.
And, is it worth going through it? Yeah, people will go, kind of like that guy who shot that, whatever it is, the healthcare CEO, whatever, oh, he's so cute. Oh, he's this and that,
Right.
Folks, it's a person, it's a human. Have we lowered that value of a person, So I that'd be a good movie, it'd be something interesting. It'll appeal, It'll be, I don't know, maybe if they get a good storyline behind it, it'll be worth watching. That's my point of view. If you keep it as an artistic form, that's fine, but make sure that you don't make it too close to what it may have happened already, So, yeah, it's like I'm divided,
I agree wholeheartedly, because one of my favorite Twilight Zone episodes is called "The Seventh is Made Up of Phantoms," and in that episode there were soldiers, army soldiers, who were out on practice training runs, and it was 3 gentlemen that were in a tank, and where they were was in the actual area where the Little Bighorn had actually taken place. So
I remember that.
right. So throughout the story, it appeared that they were going somehow. They had slipped back in time during the Little Bighorn, and like at the very end, the tank was missing. They couldn't find them, and they saw a monument there, and they actually saw on the monument the name of the 3 soldiers from the tank written on the monument of all the people who had died during the Battle of the Little Bighorn with General.
Yeah.
I can say that didn't really bother me. That, thinking about that doesn't, that was a horrific slaughter of loss of lives that did happen. That really didn't bother me. But I don't know, to me, to take, because that's different. War, people go into war, if you're a soldier, hey, I could go in here and die in this battle. I mean, that's part of war.
Right.
A victim of a serial killer doesn't have that option. It's like you're an innocent victim, and next minute, you're getting murdered by this maniac. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
It's a little bit different to me. At least it's I guess, I don't know. I guess the Dracula and Jack the Ripper thing, because the reason why, this is the whole thing too, which was crazy about that comic series. The reason why Jack the Ripper was going around killing people was because he was a guy, killing prostitutes, was because he was a guy who was going around sleeping with prostitutes, and then he, got an untreatable disease. So then he just said, I'm going to just kill all these prostitutes or whatever, like revenge on all of them for what one had gave him or something, even though nobody forced him to sleep with a prostitute. I mean, again, we don't know what the mindset of the real Jack the Ripper was. This is just like the writer, their own thought process of being creative or what have you. I don't know. I guess, like I say, it depends on the material, what they're trying to do.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it would just depend on exactly, what the story is, how they actually plan on using this serial killer or, really evil person in this film or, story or what have you. I guess like you say, I'm like you. I'm kind of like on the fence with this one. I guess it would depend on the material, what they're producing and, what the final story is.
Yeah, you're right. You're right on that.
Well, that brings us to the end of our show. Sorry, folks. We'll search for Jeff.
Oh, I'm here. I'm back.
Jeff is back. The man
Silver alert.
Wow.
I pulled my mic cord out of my USB port on the computer. So, yeah, I'm a genius.
You was trying to do a mic drop, huh?
Yeah, I'm like Ice-T.
Yeah, do a mic drop. Jeff, did you get a chance to answer? Well, you did answer, but you heard what I was saying about the Twilight Zone episode with the 7. Yeah, again, at least for me, it just depends on the material, how they plan on using the character or whatever. I don't know. It's still kind of, I don't know. To use it's still kind of icky.
Jack the Ripper, 1888.
Yeah.
There have been at least 2 movies that I'm aware of that Ed Gein, the Butcher of Plainfield, that have been based specifically on Gein. Ed Gein was 1950s.
Yeah, right.
So I think that time is a factor, because I think that you risk the fact of cheapening the survivor's guilt. If I'm a serial killer and I kill 10 moms and somebody makes a movie about me a couple years later, that's just going to reopen the wounds. And I don't see the need to do that for $1.
Right.
If it's 50, 60 years ago, probably okay.
Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah. Again, like I say, I still say I'm still kind of like on the line. I guess it would depend on, what the story is, how they're going to use that character or what have you. But again, it's still kind of, I don't know. It's still kind of gross, especially like when it's like I say, someone who's been out there murdering people within the past 30 years. You know what I mean? Yeah, I understand your point, Jeff, with Jack the Ripper, because that was like, over 100 years ago.
Yeah.
But to try to use somebody more recent within, say, like for example, I don't even remember what the name of the guy is that they killed all those college students within the past couple of years. Do you remember that? They went into their house and killed, was it 4 college students? It was in the news.
Yeah. I know, in Idaho.
Yeah, it was so horrible, man. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Horrible. Like, if they were to take him in the next 5 years and, put his character in a film, maybe not killing people, but just put him in a film, he's hanging out with his butt. You know what I mean? I don't know, man. I guess, again, it just depends on how it's written, how the story's written, be it, not animated, be it a comic book, movie, series or whatever. I guess it just depends on how they would actually use the character to.
Hey, Ron, I got to interrupt you for a second. I got a thing going on, so I need to jet. But I will be around next week.
All right, no problem.
Okay.
Well, we're
All right,
going
talk
out.
to you later, guys.
All right, take care now, Jeff. All right, folks. Well, this ends our show for this week. I want to thank my host, Mr. Mario Lazo.
Yeah, take care now.
And Mr. Jeff had to leave really quickly. Y'all don't know, but Jeff is actually a superhero in disguise. But anyway, we thank you once again for tuning in and listening to the show. We thank you for all the feedback. If you'd like to leave a comment or suggestion, please leave it at drbloodstone@gmail.com. Once again, that's drbloodstone@gmail.com for any comments or any subjects that you would like us to discuss in any one of our shows. All right? Well, you all have a great weekend. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week.
Take care.